Well, hello, beautiful beloveds. How are you? How are you orbiting reality at the moment? How are you vibing, y'all? How are you feeling? Okay, welcome to late July. Oh my goodness, y'all. Man, how has summer been for y'all so far? Right, I'm just curious, how have the third quarter been for y'all? All right, has it been hot? Has it been chilly? Has it been active? Have you been in more so hermit mode, or have you just been enjoying your damn self? I mean, what's been really going on with you? Okay, what's been really going on? If nothing else, okay, I really hope that you guys are orbiting reality in an elevated way. All right. Currently, I hope things are flowing for you. All right. I hope you are receiving your blessings. I hope that you guys, have been experiencing, different changes, positive changes and transformations in your life. I feel like these little blessings should been have trickling down, okay, for us. All right, just different things coming out of nowhere, that is making major change in our lives. I feel like I'm not the only one. Okay, so cheers to the elevation, cheers to the transformation, cheers to the journey and the progress, okay, and the process. Things are happening, things are unfolding. All right, so cheers to all of that. I also trust that you guys are enjoying the content. You're diving deep into the content. You're really applying these different techniques and implementing them as part of your lives. We're growing together. We're transforming together, right, in the most positive ways. And I also trust that y'all are having grace with yourselves as we work ourselves through this process, this journey. So take your time. I always tell y'all that. I would love to know where y'all at in the process. What topics are you guys on? What's working for you? What's not working for you? How things are going. Okay, I would love to know. And thank y'all for checking in. Okay, thank y'all for checking in. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for coming back and charging this space up with your energy. Beloveds, I love y'all. Okay. I hope y'all, I completely forgot to say this on the last video, but I hope y'all have enjoyed, that giveaway. Okay. The giveaway, the first quarter, that first giveaway that I did. All right. Looking forward to doing that in the next few months again. Okay. So thank you again, just to show my appreciation for your support. Really appreciate you. All right. Thank you for your voting. Thank you for watching your July videos. Thank you guys for, again, just coming back and energizing this space. I love you. Thank you. Okay, this topic, you guys, now we know that last topic that we got into where we talked about, that mind control meditation. I did say how that was pretty much closing out that mind alchemy, section of the series, right? Where we were doing a lot of meditation, a lot of, mental things, using the imagination heavenly and things like that. So that last topic that we did, okay, the mind control meditation, that kind of closed that out. Now we're going to shift, okay? We're pivoting into numerology, all right? Hope you guys been using that mind control meditation, the law of assumption, SATs, hope y'all been doing your work. But we're about to pivot, okay? And of course, you can use everything that we've been learning up until this point and continue to carry it on, right? For sure. But we're going to make a pivot into numerology, and we're going to get off into the topic of karmic numbers, okay? And how they can show up in our blueprint, in our numerology, all right? This topic was a request from ours truly, Miss Kimberly White. Thank you, Kim, so much for making this request. It was really divine timing. It was time for us to make a shift into more so clearing away energy, okay? And so I really appreciate you making this request, Kim. Thank you for being here, okay, and being an active, solid member. I really appreciate you, girl. I love you. All right, so we're going to get off into karmic numbers. Now, you guys already know that, y'all know what karma is, right? We go through different lives, right? We have these different experiences, okay? And we go through these different lessons. Some lessons we learn. We work ourselves through them, okay, at some point in the journey. Other lessons, we don't learn from them, and so they show back up in our current reality, in our relationships, with people, places, things, okay? And we get on these cycles of repeating these lessons over and over and over and over until we learn from them, right? Now, some of us are lucky to where the karmic energy that we have to work through in the current past life or current life, I'm sorry, in the current life, we're lucky enough because that karmic energy would show up, right? That karmic lesson would show up. It would show up in either our natal chart in the form of a retrograde. So if you look at your natal chart and you see an R, okay, in any one of your houses or whatever, that's an area of your life that is bringing challenge. It's wanting you to take a closer look at it because there is some type of lesson that you have to learn and overcome in that particular area of your life, okay? So the karmic lesson can show up for some of us in our natal chart with an R indicating a retrograde, or in this sense that we're going to be getting into our blueprint, into our numerology, all right? They're called karmic numbers. All right. Now, when they show up in our numerology, in our blueprint, these karmic numbers are showing up in what we call the 5 core numbers. All right. That's how we know we're dealing with a karmic lesson, only when they show up in the calculation of one of your 5 core numbers. Okay. And for some people, the karma shows up in more than one of the 5 core numbers, right? But at least one of these numbers, one of these core areas of your life, that karma would have to show up in one of those 5 core areas of your life, okay, in order for it to be a lesson for you to learn from, all right? And so the 4 karmic numbers are 13, 14, 16, and 19. Anytime you see a 13, a 14, a 16, or a 19 showing up in any one of your 5 core numbers, and even the calculation of those numbers, that means you have a karmic lesson that is playing out in your life that you really need to take a closer look at, work through it so that you can overcome and go on to the next level in your development, okay? Karmic numbers do not show up for everyone. They do not show up for everyone. That's something that, you guys need to know. So if you don't have any karmic numbers that's showing up in any of your core numbers, then look at your natal chart. Again, see if there's any R's in there. If not, then honey, you're golden, right? You don't have any karmic lessons, I guess, that the universe really want you to focus on and work with this lifetime, okay? But for some of us, it's going to show up in these core numbers or in your natal chart. Now, the 5 core numbers are, all right, the 5 core numbers where this karmic energy can show up. The first one is in your life path, right? Whenever we're calculating your life path, all right, in your life path at all right, calculating that number, if a 13, 14, 16, or 19 shows up in the calculation of your life path, then that means you have a karmic lesson, okay, that's showing up. Okay, so the life path number, that's when we calculate your birth date, okay? The second core number that this karmic energy can show up is in your expression number. Okay, whenever you are calculating your name, adding up all the, the characters in your name, okay? And if you come to a 13, a 14, 16, or 19 and having to break any one of those numbers down, that means you have a karmic lesson that's showing up in your expression. Okay, so your expression number is the second core number. The third core number that karmic energy can show up is the soul urge or the heart's desire. Two of the same thing. All right. Now, the soul urge, this is when we calculate the vowels of your birth name. First, middle, last name, right? Your birth name. This is when we're calculating, adding up all of the vowels in your birth name and getting it down to a single digit. If we're coming up with a 13, 14, 16, or 19 during that calculation or having to break that number down in any kind of way, that means that there's a karmic lesson that's coming up in your soul urge and your heart's desire. Okay, if it's coming up in the 4th core value, which is the personality number, All right, the personality number is calculated with the consonants of your birth name. First, middle, last name. Whatever your birth name is on that birth certificate, we are adding up all of the consonants only in your name. And if we're coming up with a 13, 14, 16, or 19, we know that there's some karmic energy, okay, in that personality. All right. Last but not least, the fifth core number that this karmic energy can show up is the maturity number, right? The maturity frequency is when we hit to about the ages of 30, 35, and we start to settle into who we are. We start to settle into the things that we want. We start to get more focused on who we are, what we are, who we are becoming. And, we start to mature a lot, right? And so how we get the maturity number is by calculating your life path and adding that with your expression number. So calculating those two numbers up, adding those two numbers together. And if you come up with a 13, a 14, 16, or 19, you know that there is some karma, okay, that's in your maturity, okay? And so those are the 5 core numbers that this karmic energy can show up, right? If it doesn't show up in these 5 core things that we just reviewed, then you're golden, right? If you do have a 13, 14, 16, or 19 that's showing up in your life path, in the calculation of your life path, in the calculation of your expression number with your name, and the calculation of your vowels or your consonants of your name, and the calculation of your life path and your expression number coming together for your maturity, then you know that there are karmic lessons that you really need to take a closer look at, okay, and work through, all right? And so let's go ahead and take a look at each number, right? Now, I do want you guys to know, for a limited time only, this video is being, uploaded on July 28th. And so, no, I'm sorry. This video is being uploaded on July 14th, right? On July 14th. And so from now until August 14th, if you guys are interested in me, calculating your 5 core numbers and determining if there's any karmic energy in there, I will do that at a discounted rate only for you guys that's on my Patreon for $25. This deal is going into the 14th of August, okay, just for you guys. I will take a look at your 5 core numbers and do the calculation. Again, you can definitely go to Google or any kind of search engine and type in what is my expression number, what is my life path. You guys know what your life path is. You know what your birthday number is. But you can go to, what is my expression number, what is my personality number, what is my maturity number, and it will shoot out the end result. But you also need the calculation, because we have to look at if there's any karmic numbers that's coming up in the calculations of these numbers, okay? If you know how to calculate these numbers, outstanding, perfect. Again, this will be a part of your homework to identify any karma coming up in your core values. But if you need help, getting these calculations of your 5 core values, again, $25. I will be offering that only to you guys until August 14th. Just let me know. Send me an email, bodhi@mindalchemy7.com, BODHI@mindalchemy7.com. Okay. And I will do that for you, and we'll take a look at if there is any karmic energy going on there, and we'll break it down. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get off into each karmic number. We have karmic number 13. That's the first karmic number, right? If you have a karmic number 13 that's showing up in any of those 5 core numbers, okay, that we talked about, this is what it means, and this is what you need to do to work through this karmic lesson. Okay, so definitely take notes, you guys. And again, once you know what your karmic numbers are, if you have any, because you may not have any, but if you have any, once you know what those are, you can come back to this topic and, or even your notes, okay, and really work on this energy, working through this energy. All right. So the first karmic number that we're going to talk about is the number 13. The number 13. If the number 13 is showing up in any one of your 5, core numbers, okay, this is what it means. All right. It means that in your past life, you were what they considered to be lazy. All right. You didn't have any determination. You didn't have any drive or motivation to do things on your own. All right. You required a lot of assistance, a lot of support. Okay. You could have expected others to, carry out tasks that were really meant for you to do. Okay. You could have, given away your responsibility, things of that nature. Okay. But in your past life, all right, you had a very lazy spirit, all right, low energy, low determination, low motivation, okay, and you misused that laziness. You misused it, okay. You abused that, your ability to even be lazy, right? It's like you abused whatever ability you had, whatever comforts you had of being still and lazy and, not being too active. It's like you did too much of that. It was an overabundance of it, right? And that is showing up as a karmic lesson for you in this particular life if this 13 is coming up in any of your core values. Okay. In order for you to overcome this lazy energy, and this is something that you're going to have to go back and forth with, okay, if this 13 is coming up. But in order for you to overcome this karmic lesson, you have to understand the lesson of hard work. You have to be willing to get your hands dirty. You have to be willing to, get down and dirty. You have to be willing to get to the details. You have to be willing to accomplish and focus on the meticulous work. The shit that don't nobody else want to do, you got to be willing to take that on, right? With passion, with determination, with eagerness, with a desire inside of you. You know what I'm saying? You gotta get yourself into this area of, I'm tackling life by the horns. I'm being very active. I am taking initiative, and I'm not being lazy. Okay. You have to really balance out your lazy spirit if 13 is coming up in any of your core values. Okay. You have to learn the value of hard work this lifetime. If you can learn the value of hard work this lifetime in whatever area that this 13 is falling in, okay, then you would have overcome this lesson of you being lazy, you procrastinating, you not having any drive, any will, any determination, and you misusing that power from the past life. It was like you were giving some sense of comfort to where maybe you really didn't have to do too much, and you just took advantage of you not having to do too much. And so this lifetime 13s, the beloved, the universe really wants you to implement. It really wants you to assert yourself, right? It really wants you to be a leader. It really wants you to be action oriented and get things done, okay? And not be lazy, right? Do not procrastinate. Be determined, be persistent, right? Set up a routine, be structured. You know what I'm saying? And really rely on yourself to get things done, okay? If that 13 is coming up in one of your core values, okay? Now, the second core value is that karmic number 14, right? If that karmic number 14 is coming up in any of your core values or any of your core numbers, this is what it means. And this is how you can overcome this karmic lesson, all right? The karmic 14 deals with the story of freedom, all right? It deals with the story of freedom, and it's all about your abuse of personal freedom or your misunderstanding of what personal freedom really is. Okay, if 14 is coming up in any of your core numbers, this is saying that you really have to take a look at how can you balance out your need, your desire to be a rebel, to be free, to not have any restrictions, any routines, versus needing to be stable, needing to be structured, needing to have a routine. It's like you have to balance that out if 14 is showing up in any of your core numbers, okay? Your desire to be free, to be liberated versus the need for you and your soul to be secure and stable and structured. Okay, so that's the energy that you guys will combat with, depending on where this is showing up in your core value. Okay, when the 14 shows up, this says that a person carrying this karmic energy, such as myself, my birthday is a 14. Okay, so that means that all throughout of my life, I'll be experiencing, unexpected changes, unexpected events, roller coaster rides of emotions, ups and downs and things of that nature. When the 14 shows up as a karmic number, that can also signify some sense of substance abuse or some kind of overindulgence in like an unhealthy whatever. You know what I'm saying? It could be shopping, it could be sex, it could be substance abuse, but something that is an over, you're overdoing something that's not necessarily healthy for you, right? When the 14 comes up in one of your core values, this can mean that you have commitment issues, right? You have problems with committing to people, right? You have problems with committing to different projects and things like that, okay? Because again, your sense of, or your need for freedom, right? Your desire to be free, to be liberated, not to be weighed down or, constricted or limited, right? And so you're constantly have to, making sure that you balance that out. Like, yes, it's important for me to be liberated. It's important for me to be fluid and for me to have moments where I'm free, okay, and liberated. But I also do way better when I am focused, when I am structured, when I'm following a routine. You know what I'm saying? So dealing with that, dealing with freedom and balancing that all out. Okay. In order to overcome this karmic lesson, if 14 is showing up in any of your core values, okay, you have to make sure that you have a clear focus. And you have to be dedicated to your goal and the completion of that goal, no matter what happens, right? Whatever it is that you're doing in life, you need to be clear. You need to be focused on that goal. You need to have steps, okay, that set you up to accomplish that goal. You need to be goal oriented. And whatever it is that you're doing and accomplishing, it needs to be something that you are very passionate about and that you connect with, because you need to see these things all the way to the end. And so the more clear you are of your goal, the more focused you are of your goal, the longer you will stay to see the result of something. Okay, the longer you can, the more you will be able to control the unexpected things that kind of happen. Okay, being prepared for as much as possible as well, right? Especially when you know this is going to happen or that's going to happen. 14. Some things you just can't prepare for. Some things just happen, right? But if you know that this is down the line, this is coming, this is change is happening or whatever, try your best to start preparing for those things as soon as possible. It's important for the 14s to get organized, to write things down, again, step by step. Things need to be clear. You need to have direction, okay? Things need to be clear. They need to make sense. Things need to be organized, okay? That'll also help you work through your karmic lessons. But again, having a clear goal at all times throughout your life. Staying focused on your goals because they will change. Having step-by-step directives of how you can accomplish your goal with time frames, staying clear, staying passionate, staying determined, okay? And achieving things into the end, pushing yourself to achieve things to the end. That's how you can work through your karma, all right? Sticking to it, staying clear on it, staying focused on whatever you're doing until it's accomplished, right? And it's so important for y'all to have goals and outcomes to reach and to strive for. If you don't have any goals or outcomes to reach or strive for, and a 14 is coming up in your core numbers, you're going to be just around here just like this, like, just all over the place. You have to have something to keep you grounded, okay, to keep you anchored. And your core goals, your core, the things that you want out of life, you being crystal clear and determined and focused on that is how you can win at life and overcome that karmic of the 14, okay? Moving on to the karmic, the number 16. The karmic 16, y'all, deals with the cycles of destruction. Okay, it's all about out with the old, in with the new. Major endings, huge beginnings and like constant cycles of these things happening over and over, you know, constant endings, constant new beginnings, you know. Just when you start to get used to things for, you know, maybe a couple years, here go another major change and shift. And, you know, as soon as you start to settle into this, you know, then here come another major shift and change. So it's all about endings of cycles and the beginning of new things, okay, with this 16 energy, if that pops up in any of your core values, okay? Yeah, man, it deals with the destruction, okay? What happens when things end and when things beginning, the shifts and the changes, and you know, this 16, this karmic 16, if it shows up in any of your core numbers, this can also mean that you might have to deal with the destruction of your possessions, okay? The destruction of old values, old beliefs, okay? Even the destruction of the ego, right? You may go through different phases where your ego is destroyed and rebuilt and then destroyed and rebuilt. You may go through those constant transformative internal changes, okay? And even though this karmic lesson 16 can be painful, it's very important that you guys know how imperative it is for you guys to be flexible, for you guys to be adaptable and willing to change. Okay, it's important that you understand the cycles of life, that after every death comes an amazing rebirth. And so if you're finding yourself going through another ending, you're like, oh my God, I'm so tired of these endings. I just want things to be comfortable. I want things to be still. I want things to be stable for a while. I want to get used to my life. I want to, you know, if you're finding yourself going through these changes, right, just release. Don't resist. Right? Know that this is some karmic energy that you're dealing with. And the more that you resist and tense up and try to keep things from changing and just letting go, the more of an issue you're going to create for yourself, okay? The longer this change, this renewal process is going to take, okay? It's important that you see life as a continuous cycle of rebirth and death. It's so important. And if you guys can, like, it's like an internal understanding, karmic 16s, okay, that like, damn, okay, because I feel like the 16s do a lot of resisting. When change comes, you guys resist change. It's like y'all hate change, but you're always experiencing change. Okay, it's showing up in some core value, and you experience it often in this core value of your life, and you hate change. But it's like when change comes, it's time to release something that you don't want to release. That's telling you, let me just let it go. Let me know that, you know, let me just become aware that this is changing, this is dying away, something better is coming. Let me be open and receptive to the betterment that is coming. You know, let me be in the flow with things. Let me just allow this to happen instead of resisting, okay? And so that's the karmic 16, okay? Even when it's time to, you know, even when your ego is being destroyed, right? It's not coming to harm you or to make you feel like shit or unworthy or whatever. The ego is being destroyed because it's getting in the way of who you need to be or who you are becoming. It's getting in the way of your highest expression. That's why the ego is being destroyed, so that you can build a stronger, more ego that's in alignment with where you're going. Okay, so when these destructive changes come in your life, take them as blessings to finally cleanse your energy and release some shit that's dying, to finally release the shit and welcome in newness, renewal, okay? That's important for you guys. That will help you through that karmic energy. Instead of resisting change, letting go and letting God, okay? All right, and again, destruction of possessions, destruction of old values, old beliefs that are breaking away. You may build up values and different belief systems and stand on those things for 5 or 6 years, and then they just fall away. And you know, your beliefs and things change and shift periodically, things of that nature, right? And it could be destructive. It could be destructive. And so you're needing to, again, anchor yourself, okay, as you go through these transitions, and know that out with the old, in with the new. Just be open to that, right? And as long as you internally be open to it, then it's like you deal with that energy. You clear that karma out, okay? Last but not least of the karmic numbers, we have the number 19. If the number 19 is showing up in any of your core values, okay, this is what it means, and this is how you can work through that karmic issue. It means that you guys have abused power in your past life. Okay, some of you guys could have had a powerful or high profile position at work, even amongst your society or in a community, even amongst your family life or, you know, your group of friends. But you were in a, or, you know, maybe you had a very high profile platform and you misused that platform. Whatever kind of status you had, whatever kind of powerful position that you upheld. Some of you guys, you could have been over empires, or, you know, you could have been over nations, or, you know, you could have been old presidents or whatever, or old chiefs or whatever, you know, but whatever you were over, whatever kind of position of power you held, you misused it. Okay, whether you did not disperse out resources appropriately or in a justified way, or whether you delegated responsibilities way too much and you were lazy or whatever the case may be. It's like you misused power in your past life. Okay, so in this life, the karmic energy for you to work through is relying on yourself. Okay, knowing that, you know, you have to be a leader, knowing that you went from up here, okay, to down here, to where you have to get it in the mud, right? Again, it's like getting your hands dirty. Whatever kind of, you know, goal that you have, outcome, you know, dream or vision that you have to rely on yourself to conjure that in. You have to put in the energy. You have to put in the work to make whatever you want to happen in your life happen. You cannot rely on others to help you, okay, to achieve your outcome, because you had all the help and support and resources and know-how and position and platform before previously, but you misused that power in some kind of way. And so it's like you are coming back to work that off and to say, yes, I know how to do it. I have a goal. I have a vision. A lot of 19s are very ambitious. Y'all are very ambitious. A lot of you guys could come from very humbled backgrounds where you were not given a goddamn thing, where you had to fight to be heard, fight to be seen. Okay, you had to fight to know everything that you know. You know what I'm saying? And so you have to fight your way, you know, and that comes with the karma that you have from the past of abusing the power that you had. So in this life, you have to get it. You have to fight for it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go all the way down to the bottom, and you have to lift yourself up and do that heavy lifting and do that work. Okay, that's what this karmic 19 energy means for you. Okay, it says this person needs to learn the balance between times when they have to stand on their own and when they need to ask help from others. So you're going to have to balance, okay, when it's time for me to show up and act on my own and be the leader, and when it's time for me to ask for help from others. It's like you're going to have a little struggle with that as a 19 too. Okay, there are times when we must travel alone, okay, and fight alone for our ideas. Okay, all right, so now let's go back, because in your 5 core values, right? Remember, I keep saying that you can find those karmic numbers 13, 14, 16, and 19 in 5 core numbers, right? So let's go into each 5 core number to see what does that mean, right? If you were to find a karmic number in your life path, what does that mean exactly? If you were to find a karmic number in your, you know, in your expression, what does that mean, and so forth, okay? So let's go to that. Let's start with the life path, okay? If you're calculating your life path, okay, like this one, let me see where we at. If you're calculating your life path, this person's birth date, you know, and you know we use our birth date to calculate the life path. So if you're calculating your life path, this person's birthday is May 13th, 1963. See, we have a karmic birthday right there that's showing up, but we're calculating this life path. And look, we got to break down 1963. 1 plus 9 plus 6 plus 3 equals 19. There goes a 19, okay? Even when we're calculating that life path, if a karmic shows up, that's a karmic, okay? So if it shows up in your life path, that means that you can feel the influence of this lesson all throughout of your life. All right. If you're calculating your life path and a 13, 14, 16, or 19 shows up in that calculation, you will be able to feel this karmic lesson throughout your whole life. Now, you will be experiencing this throughout your whole life. Some people, they will actually feel the lesson. They will know that they have a karmic, like, damn, there's a cycle here, okay, in my life. And others, it's like you won't even know it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you'll be oblivious to this lesson. You won't even know that this is karma, you know. But if it shows up in your life path, it's like a steady kind of thing that kind of shows up throughout your life, okay? If it shows up in your expression number, where we're calculating all of the expressions in your name, that means that this karma will influence you in a less dramatic way, but it will show up, this karma will actually show up at work, all right? It will show up in what you do for a living, or in your artistic expressions or your artistic endeavors, if you're more of an artistic person, okay? So that's where the karma will show up for you if it's in your name, okay? It'll show up at your job and what you do for a living, for a service, as well as your artistic expression and endeavors, okay? Let's say a karmic number shows up in your soul urge or your heart's desire. That's where we calculate the vowels of your birth name. So let's say it shows up there. That means that this karma is showing up in your relationships. Okay, it's showing up in your intimate relationships, you know, in your marriage, your lover. Is showing up with, your family, your friends. Okay, it's all about your interpersonal relationships. Okay, if it shows up in that soul urge or that heart's desire. Okay, so major karma showing up in their relationships. Okay, let's say you have a karmic number that shows up in your personality. That's where we add up the consonants of your name, right? And it's showing up in your personality. That's saying that you have some lessons to learn in respects to your social interaction, your social engagement, right? How do you act amongst people, and how do you act amongst the community, right? Even your presence on social media, it's like some karmic lesson that could be showing up amongst your social interaction, your social community, your social engagement, okay? Now, you may have a birthday number like me, okay? I'm born on the 14th day. That's a karmic birthday number. So this tells us, whenever you see a 14 and or a karmic number 13, 14, 16, or 19, and you were born on that day, this tells us that you really need to take a closer look to this karmic energy, because you have had this karma for many, many, many lifetimes. This is a lifetime that you really need to pay a closer look at these lessons and learn how to work with this energy, learn how to balance it out and move on, so that you can finally evolve, because it's been with you for so long. So for me, having a 14 as a karmic birthday number, this is like, I've been dealing with freedom, me wanting to be free, me wanting to be a rebel, me wanting to be liberated, not having a routine, not having any major responsibilities, right? I've been dealing with this shit for many, 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 many lifetimes, okay? And I'm just now starting to understand what it's all about, and starting to balance things out, starting to stick to a schedule and a routine, starting to stay, being very goal-oriented. I know that I'm a lot more productive when I'm goal-oriented, when I'm clear on a vision and I'm clear on something and I'm focused on achieving these objectives to meet my big outcome, right? That strategic cosmic planning that I do, that's when I'm most productive, right? That's when magic really happens for me. But I really have to balance that energy out, right? Because I'll be like, fuck this shit, I just want to go, fuck it all, right? I'll say that in a minute as a 14 karmic. And so just knowing these things has helped me work through this karmic energy, all right? So if if it shows up in your birthday, again, it's something that, you know, you really need to take a closer look at, okay, because you've had it for so long, and it's time that you really take a closer look at that and really just start to balance out whatever that energy is, okay? Balance it out. Catch yourself when you're getting off into that karmic side. You know what I'm saying? Catch yourself, bring yourself back into a more productive state, okay? Bring yourself back into the opposite of what you're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Implement more balance, okay? If it comes up in the birthday. All right. Now, if it shows up in your maturity number, this is the fifth core number that it could show up in. So if it shows up in your maturity number, this is when, you know, we calculate the life path and we add it with the expression number. We add those two together, right? And if a karmic shows up in that maturity number, this means that you'll experience these karmic lessons as you go through very important transitions in your life. So from childhood to teenage years, right? As you transition from childhood to teenage, you'll go through some type of karmic lesson, right? As you transition from, you know, teenage to adulthood, there's a type of lesson or something karmic that this karmic lesson that you'll have to work through. Even if you transition from, you know, being single to married, from being, you know, not having any children to being a parent, you know, as you make these major important transitions in your life, these karmic lessons will come up, okay? Yeah. And so again, you know, we talked about how you can work on these issues, okay, depending on what karmic frequency it is, right? But that's what that maturity number means if it's showing up in your maturity, okay, in the calculation of your maturity. This is you telling yourself, okay, when I go through major transitions in my life, important transitions, these are the lessons that are going to be coming up for me to focus on, for me to overcome, for me to try to find balance at, for me to check my energy, for me to really be intentional and work through this karmic energy. Because every time I go through a major transition, I swear this loop-de-loop shit come around, and you know, so this really brings to light the karmic energy that we could be holding and harboring and not even knowing it, okay? It could be showing up evident in our numerology blueprint with our core numbers. If so, y'all, if it is showing up, that 13, 14, 16, or 19, showing up in that life path, your expression number, your soul urge, your personality, your birth date number, or your maturity, these are some lessons that we can really work through, that we can be intentional with, and just work through it, bring balance in, you know what I'm saying, and be intentional. We can work through this karmic energy. We really can. All right. Again, also check your natal chart, see if there is an R or a retrograde, because that's also bringing another karmic lesson in that particular area of your life. And most of the time it does align with your numerology blueprint, right? Most of the time it aligns with one of those core values that you could also have a karmic number in if it's in your natal chart, but not all the time, okay? So definitely go check out that natal chart for that R or that retrograde, okay? But I hope you guys have enjoyed this, you know, karmic number video, okay? Again, I really felt like this was right on time. Kim, thank you so much. I hope I have, you know, satisfied, you know, your interest, your request of knowledge here. You know, I think it's very important for us to know this information and how it can show up for us and what we can do about it, okay? This is definitely a part of us transforming and becoming the highest version of ourselves, clearing out the old energy for sure, and transforming into new energy. Absolutely. I love every bit of this, and I hope you have enjoyed it too. Topic 8, we'll be talking about the 4 challenging periods of our life, taking a look at our birth date. So bring your pen and your notepad, okay? I love you guys. This next, the 4 challenging periods will be out on July 28th. Come back for that. I will also be uploading your August readings as well. So make sure you do your voting for the month of August. What do you want me to do? Your life path, your zodiac readings, or any love readings you want to shift or pivot, or you want to stay on the life paths, or what you want to do. Y'all let me know for August, but those are coming up, okay? And I love y'all, man. Until next time, bye.